The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 11th of November, 2019. Myself and John are your hosts. As always, if you've got any ideas or queries or questions or problems, or you just want advice, then please feel free to raise your hand. We'll get the microphones opened and we'll cover the content accordingly. Okay, I will monitor the questions and the raised hands and so on. What I'm just going to do is, as always, okay. Sorry, I just got a message off Bruce as we've got that. As always, we'll start with updates. So let me share my screen. Just 1 second. Okay, so we'll start with the usual updates, and then we'll take questions and so on and so forth. Okay, so if any of you remember from last week or the last couple of weeks, we were working on the next update to the report control. That has now been released, 4.14. We haven't made the announcement yet, but we will do very shortly. But it is available for download now, so you can get your hands on it and give it a run out. So the main items what are in the report control, the 4.14 update. There we go. You've got conditional icons on the column definitions. We can do a range limit, more for TPS access, if you will, for the file loading, view loading report controls. There was an update to the synchronizing of the inline display filter and search buttons. There was an issue regarding the hot fields being bound correctly, I should say, correctly. So they've been corrected. And lastly, one of the other changes we'd done regarding leading zeros and so on and so forth actually caused a space to appear in an inline filter when it shouldn't have done. Just the first time when you first turned it on, but that's been corrected. So to quickly show those items in action, what I've got here is, let's go on to here, we've got a global variable which I've just think I've primed up to record 2. Yeah, so it's just a global variable. It's primed up to 2. If we go to this report control, which is file/view loaded, then what we should do, I'm just going to demonstrate here, is the filter and the hot field. So we can say here we've got a regular filter statement, and it's just customer ID equals, and it's that global variable. That global variable has been hot fielded in, but we don't want it in the view. So it's not part of our view statement to get the data from the back end, the SQL or TPS or whatever your file driver is, but we do need it basically to be bound for the filter to work. So that's, as I say, it's got a version 2 in it, sorry, a record number 2 in it. So if we compile this, we expect to only really get one record when it shows. So that's just a quick correction to the binding. Okay, so we'll look at this now. Yeah, we've just got record 2. Okie dokie. The next item to cover, so we'll take that filter out, left it in so we could show it you. It's basically we're saying, okay, we're going to go through in customer ID order, and we're going to put a range limit on there. So I'm going to say, okay, I want to limit the customer to between 2 and, let's say, 7. Of course, these could be optional fields and variables, and in reality, the things you would normally expect. So, but yes, we can now got a range limit, so it will limit the loading, and you'll find the TPS loading to be a lot faster. So there you go, a limit 2 to 7. They're sorted in a different order. And of course you can see, and I think we've covered it a couple of times, the conditional icons that we've got on these columns. To quickly show those in action, just going to use this same example. Let's remove those. Okay, so then we can see all the columns. Okay, sorry, I've just got a couple of messages coming through, so I'm trying to see what they were at the same time. I think it was a customer name, we give it a conditional icon, so we go to our icons, we've got a default of the Noyantis icon, and then we said we want it to be a different icon if the first character starts with N. Really? So that in action would look something like this. Okay, so we can see there, Noyantis icon, unless you start with an N. And that's the local column, and we've just reversed that logic on the local column. And then last but not least was it was a leading space in there when it shouldn't have been. So that was corrected. Actually, there was one other. If through code, let's say we did have, maybe not on that one, we put something in here, so we want anything what contains an E. So there we go. Now, if we obviously turn that off via the button press on the screen control, then we turn it off. It updates the report control accordingly. But if we happen to turn that off in code, maybe we have some kind of reset function or something similar to that. If you was to do it via code, the report control would reset accordingly as expected, but the screen control would then be out of sync, and now it won't be. Now, if we reset this via code, that would be cleared accordingly. So that was just an extra tidy up. And that really rounds up the report control update. That's 4.14, and that is available, now as we speak. So what we're just discussing there is if we just bring up a particular website. There's a couple to bring up actually. But Bruce had just sent me a message. I don't know if any of you are aware, but obviously we've just had the CIDC event over in Orlando. Great success actually, really good event as they always are. But we're also planning. Look, basically maybe it's just past the research. What do you think, John? Has it gone past the research point at the moment? But basically, what we're doing is we're thinking of hosting a CIDC event in Cape Town, South Africa, in April 2020. So only a few months away. So Bruce,
Andy,
yes.
Andy, it's not only contemplated, it's announced, and there's a website, CIDC2020.com.
I was just going to say, up until
there you go.
the start of this website, you probably heard my phone go in the background, and that was Bruce telling us that, okay, the website is now live. So yes, there we go, CIDC 2020 Africa. So I think the plan is 2 days of training, 2 days of conference, as we can see here. So there'll be 1 day of Noyantis training, 1 day of CapeSoft training, and 2 days of conference. So hopefully, and of course there's online attendees as well. So we want to try and get as many people as we possibly can to the event. These things really are great. I know we're biased, but well, in reality, they really are great anyway. That's just a simple truth. Great to see everybody. You learn loads of techniques and little tips and tricks. So I can't recommend them enough. So you will be watch for your inbox. Basically, this will be going an email be going out to promote this, and hopefully we can get you to join. John, join us. John, you're travelling across, are you not?
I am. Yeah, Mary and I are going over.
Yes. Oh, brilliant. Yep. Well, I know if we're all hosting the training, then we'll be there, funnily enough. And the dates, I think, yeah, they are there, April the 2nd till April the 5th. So I think it's a Thursday to Sunday. So we're trying to tie it in so it doesn't impact too much on a working week, if you will, and then we can tie in the Saturday, Sunday, but still give time for people to travel back on a Sunday should they need to, that kind of thing. So it's quite a practical schedule. I've not seen the website yet because, as I say, this I got notified as this started. So no doubt there will be more information posted on that. Now, Mark's just asked, one of the questions is, for 2020 CIDC 2020, what are the visa requirements? And that's a good question. I'm going to have to look into it. Mark, have you got a microphone?
I have looked into it. I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah, there are none. You go in with a passport, and then I think they give you a visa when you get there.
Yeah,
so
I know. I spoke to.
There's nothing to do there.
Yeah, I spoke to Bruce regarding whether to fly into Cape Town or Johannesburg, and that was only because of preferred airline, I'll be honest. And he was saying, regardless of where you land, you're still going to have to go through the immigration channel, as you would expect. You know, when I visit the CIDC events in the States, you get in the immigration channel and the usual things. So yeah, I do think you have to have injections though. I don't know if you had them last time, John. I think
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I wouldn't rely on me for answers to anything though.
Okay. Well, I know.
I definitely research it, but I'm not. If you're going into certain areas, you do, but I don't think Cape Town is one of them.
I wouldn't personally have thought. I know general travel information is you go to South Africa, then you would naturally have certain. I think it's only 2 or 3.
Like measles and
yeah,
right, the normal stuff, right?
Yeah, no, nothing crazy. Yeah, it's perfectly safe, crikey. And you know, South Africa, that covers one big place. So, but I think the official guidelines are you have some injections. But if you go into what is ultimately a tourist resort like Cape Town, then you know, as always, seek medical advice. But I wouldn't be losing any sleep over it by the same token. So yeah, that's that. We've got a couple of questions. Just finish up on the updates. So report control is out as promised. There is a new SMS provider being added to the Chilkat wrapper. That will be added this week, and they are a company called ClickSend. Don't know if anyone's heard of them. For those who aren't aware of the Chilkat wrapper, it provides an SMS functionality. It supports it supports a few actually. Just let me bring it up because I kind of forget myself now, to be honest with you. Okay. And where are we? SMS, there we go. SMS. So it supports Boom SMS, Bulk SMS, Com API, Plivo, Telesign, not quite finished yet, Text Local, not quite finished, and Twilio. So the ClickSend will also be sent to it. Its prices are really competitive, which is good. A good service level agreement, which of course is very important, which you want. But the main reason that's being added is we need the functionality to not just send to send us SMS or text, but we also want to be able to have them delivered as voice. Basically, yeah. So you could send out a reminder, let's say from a medical system saying, please remember your appointment tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Press 1 to accept, 2 to rearrange, 3 to cancel. And it will also report back basically the two-way click. So you can do the straight SMS and get the response back, but you should also be able to do the clicker's voice, sender's voice. So it will actually read it out, and you can select the person's locality, if you will. So you can have an English accent, an American accent, so on and so forth. So that will be added this week. So by next week, we should be able to demonstrate that, and you'll be able to hear some kind of message coming out of the system via a speaker. So yeah, so that's another update which is in progress as we speak. Okay, on to the content. So first off, I got Mark also asked. So he said about CIDC. Mark, have you got a microphone? Let's open the microphone up. So if you haven't,
Hello. Hi, yeah, this. Hey, Andy.
Hi. So you're asking the report control. How does it direct to printout? Does it work with CapeSoft Premier? Not currently. Basically, it has its own. Let me just go into the report control. It has its own print engine. Okay. Let's go into one of these. Printing. There we go. Yeah, it has its own print engine, and it's very much what you see is what you get. So if you was to rearrange that to there, get rid of that color, oh, I've not got that turned on in this example, so put that to there, even down to the resize, if you will. Yeah, let's bring that all the way across. You would get a print of it looking like that. You can control the landscape the landscape or portrait, and give it headers and footers and so on, but it is very much a WYSIWYG of that. Now, what our template does support is CapeSoft Send To. So basically what it does, imagine if you will, because CapeSoft Send To really takes a Clarion list and then obviously manipulates it to whatever destination it needs to go to, be it CSV or HTML or whatever is required. So what we support is you can basically just add an extension to the screen and so on, and what it technically does is it creates a hidden list control which is then used for the Send To. So we do have an interface into Send To. Whether we'll add an interface into the Premiere, quite open to that. I actually got a license to Premiere myself at CIDC back in September.
It's amazing. When I watched the video, I started spending money. But no, and I bought the Send To as well. I think everything that he mentioned, Bruce mentioned, I just bought.
There's some good stuff in there. Obviously, you get some really good tools. We use them ourselves, as I say. And I got the Premiere. So yes, I would say as long as me and Bruce work really well together, and Mike for that matter with his templates. If there's a way of hooking the two together, then that's what we do. So you as an end user are not really torn or having to make any hard decisions. We try and make them all work together. So in fact, Bruce offered us, because we have this, the joint development from a third party point of view, he offered me a free license, but I said I'd pay for it only because I'm going to use it myself. So it's only fair to keep things fair from that point of view.
I have Send To as well, but I mean, I think this is your control as well as your Chilkat, what you just mentioned with ClickSend and Twilio. I mean, because I'm medical software, I think everything that you would mentioned, I've got a lot of interested people that really want to have, that functionality built in. So I'm putting it in. And as you finish these, I'll be on the purchasing list.
Oh, that's excellent. That's always a bonus. Yeah. But just a little history, actually. We digress a little, but the history of how the code job wrappers came about is I worked at a place as software development manager, and we needed some good UI controls, functional controls, but that was all medical. It was dentistry, actually.
Right.
So all the usual, sending out your reminders and your recalls of the patients and the booking of the appointments and the calendar and the diary and scheduling and so on, all of that, that's how the requirement of the templates actually, the controls came around, and the templates was the natural progression of that. And so Noyantis was born from that. But yes, basically I came from that kind of background myself, not just medical. I've done plenty of other things in the past, but yes, they were born out of medical type applications. So,
okay, great.
Yeah.
They are powerful. One other one I wanted to mention that I'm looking at that would be very helpful, because I integrate imagery, so that you can take fingerprints, facial imagery, you can scan cards, signatures. I'm looking at a company called, and I can store those in blobs right now, but You know, that's kind of like not the most optimum when you want to start sharing with other physicians or whatever. But there's a company called Third Light that
Oh no! I swear to you, Chorus by Third Light.
Oh yeah.
I've just been doing the API this morning. Literally, but I've still got it on my screen here. I don't want to divulge the customer's name, so I won't do that. Third Light, there you go. I can bring that into play without divulging the customer. There you go. I was just working on the API this morning.
Yeah, awesome. I've got my keys. I'm just ready. You know.
So yes, interesting. Which they officially want you to use the new API, and they've got a new API, but they have still got the old JSON API beneath the surface. Speaking with Oggy, who's one of their dev/support technicians earlier today, and I wanted to basically go in and do via the API, do the search of the metadata to say I only want images updated since a certain date, or I only want images where I've got a particular defined field of such and such a value, that kind of thing. And they still suggest using the old API. So I am going to add to the Chilkat to our Chilkat library, because it's that what gives us the power to do all this. But just as did I still have the Chilkat open? I mean, this is great news for yourself, literally. We have our base classes, and there's not just all, there's 90 odd base classes, and then we have our task classes which sit above that, and we make use of a load of base classes to make it easy for you. So if you want to talk to Google Calendar, you just have to basically, this is using a service account, but you just have a method called connect. You have a method called download, you change the content, and you have a method called upload. Update. So we make it really simple, and we'll be doing the exact same with the Third Light. So it will be a task class, and so that will be added. It'll go in raw format into an application this week, because it's an application I'm working on for one of our clients. But then so it'll go in raw format, so to speak, to make sure that the interface all works and so on. And then the Chilkat wrapper will be released.
Okay, I see. Also, I see that you're MYOB, because I need to interface with QuickBooks, Xero, Sage, Microsoft Dynamics, MYOB. I need to interface with all those, and I know you'd mentioned during the conference or maybe one of the calls, the webinars, you were going to do some more. And now I see that at least the buttons are active on that Chilkat for MYOB and Xero.
QuickBooks is done. I mean, this is when I say done. The interfaces are huge. You can really get into the depth of the applications. We've covered all what I consider to be the norms. So when I say the norms, what I mean by that is the likes of let's just quickly connect to that. So this is OAuth 2 kicking in. It's just logging in on the other window. Just 1 second.
That's great news about your Third Light. I mean,
I can't believe I didn't think anybody would actually require it. I'll put it as a task class, because if it's useful to somebody, then it's more it's better to have in the application, and it makes it a stronger application. But I didn't really think many people would require it. So your timing is impeccable, literally impeccable.
Yeah, it's not, well, it's just because I'm looking at competition. There's a lot of things going on in the electronic medical records and imagery and sharing the data, and that's what a lot of physicians are doing now. I just went to I know this is aside, but we were just at a Vegas show. My friend came in from Seattle. We're sitting there at the table. We're watching David Copperfield, and a couple sits down next to us, and he's a doctor from South Africa, and his wife. So we started talking about my app, and they said, "Oh my gosh, South Africa can use this type of a medical mobile application." And I go, it was amazing, because here he is sitting there, and I said, some of the major company that I purchase many of my technologies from is CapeSoft, is from so they're in South Africa, and it was just like we had a great conversation. But now, when you mentioned some of the other tools, I started looking at what can set me aside and and have my customers benefit more. And I found this for imagery, and that's great news. Thank you. So it's just coincidental, all these things happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had it on the other screen, literally open, and yeah, and in fact, if I actually dip into one of my other machines where I've got my Postman collection, you'll actually see. But I've got passwords, so I don't want to divulge them. But yeah, that's where I'm doing the testing of the APIs first using Postman. So yes. But to come back to the accounting,
the accounting.
Yeah, we cover the your nominals or your general ledgers, as they're otherwise known. So we cover the accounts, bills, classifications, customers, employees, invoices, and of course that's sales ledger, purchase ledger, or accounts receivable, accounts payable, journal entries, payments, payment methods. We also do credit notes. They should be in there as well, but it's just not part of the example, and tax rates. So, of course, you can do so much more, but with that combination, it covers you for a lot, a real lot.
Yeah, I need accounts, bills, customers, and payments and invoices. So everything you have there is good.
Yeah, I mean, if it needs something else, we just add it. Contact us and say, I mean, originally we didn't do the classifications, and someone was saying, well, we really need them for when we're doing the analysis of some of the invoices. So we just added it. It was probably a couple of hours work, and then the next update got it added. So that's really simple. But so we cover this approach with QuickBooks, and that's in there and out in the field and being used with Xero, and again that's out in the field. MYOB Essentials, that's already done, but of course it's the Essentials doesn't actually support multi-currency, and there's another thing. Is it tax? I don't think they allow the download of tax or one of them. I forget which one it is, but yeah, they close that off because it is the lighter version. But the MYOB account right is just in development now, so it's not on general release, but it will be. And then to follow after that will be Sage and the Office 365 Dynamics.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. It's convenient. It's coincidental again. We're talking about the subject, but I just shot Bruce an email last week, because I'm going to implement the marketing in my application on a subscription basis that somebody can pay month to month and an annual basis. So, and you get the benefits both ways, but it's just a little cheaper if you give me all the money for the year, but you're going to pay every year. So what I asked him was, I'm going to be using the SecureWin server hosting that they provide so that it can distribute my registrations and licenses and keep all that stuff going. But on a month-to-month, on a membership, a subscription-based application, like Microsoft 365, if you don't pay this month, it's shut off the next day.
Yeah.
And then when you pay, it gets turned on again. And I asked him if there was some way to integrate or interface through the SecureWin hosting and PayPal, because I'm going to primarily try to use the PayPal application, and to interface with somebody makes a payment, there's an invoice that can go out, all that stuff works, that somehow SecureWin could know about that. He did say there was an API that could be interfaced with, but I knew that you were working on PayPal. What are your thoughts about that concept with even other accounting systems? But
accounting or payment systems, because
payment
gateways.
Payment that keeps my software going. If you pay your, let's say it's $100 a month to subscribe, you pay your $100, it runs for 30 days. If you don't pay the next month, then it stops running. So,
yeah, I mean, it can be done. There's two elements to it in my mind. One is the collecting and noting of as a person paid or not paid, that kind of thing. So of course you could do that with PayPal. You could do it with PaySimple. That's an interface which is part of Chilkat. Not Chilkat, sorry, nothing to do with Chilkat, but we use Chilkat to do our task class. But this allows you to set up recurring payments. So we can say, okay, we've got various customers here, and we can see these are all tests, so it's okay. We've got some credit cards logged against a particular customer, and then against that card we've got some recurring payments. So every month it will attempt to, on whatever not every month, whatever interval you set it up as. So for example, this is the first of the month, but it could be the particular day of the month, or the last day of the month, or the annually and weekly, that kind of thing. But they support that's already available. So if you've got a Pay Simple account, you could just drop that into your application to be able to set up and maintain your regular payments. So that's one element. So you've got the setting up and monitoring. So, and you can automate that as much as possible to see if the money's come in. Then you do want to be able to tie that to basically generating your sequin codes. We do it on one of our applications, actually. We do a system for bookmakers, on-site, on-course bookmakers, so dog racing, horse racing, that kind of thing. And they pay on a monthly subscription. And basically, if they as the software initiates, it starts up, if you will, it initiates itself, then it queries our server to, it gives us a serial number of the software, and it says, okay, this is me, when am I valid till? If they are still valid, then of course they get a new sequin code brought down as a response, and it applies it, and they are rolled on for the next month accordingly, or the next year if they paid annually.
That's what you just described. What I need, what I'm going to need to do. So, not today, not tomorrow, but probably early January, February, when I roll this out. That's the kind of thing I'm going to need to do.
Yeah, we're already doing that. So we have a server sat there. It's a NetTalk web server, actually. It knows who's paid and who hasn't paid, and it generates new sequin codes appropriately. And then the software just basically queries our server and says, am I still valid? And if they are, great. It rolls them on to the new expiry date, and if they're not, then it terminates them and shuts the application down accordingly.
Great. Yeah. So I have NetTalk desktop right now. So I would need to go with the NetTalk server.
I would recommend that. I mean, you could probably do it through the H5, and so on. Personally,
I'll just buy the server.
Yeah, I'm not on commission off Bruce, but it's the best tool for the job. That's my personal opinion. I'm not knocking the H5 server and so on and so forth. It's just it's going to be very simple for you to put that kind of API server, which is ultimately what that is, to put that API server into play. It's going to be very simple to do.
Do you have the Sequin server installed as well? So you have both?
Hosted? No, I don't. We do that part ourselves on our own web server in PHP.
Okay.
So, but the principle would be exactly the same.
Okay. Thank you. Great.
Actually, no, I tell a lie. So I know that bit is the NetTalk server. I'm thinking of a different one of our other offerings, which is PHP. No, but we're not using Sequin server. We just have a NetTalk web server, which, as I say, can check payment statuses, so on and so forth, automatically roll people on if payments are paid, and then the software, when it initiates, just queries the server. We do give them 2 or 3 attempts just in case they start the application in the morning and maybe their internet's down. Well, we don't want to necessarily just cut them off just because they can't talk to our server, but we'll give them like 2 or 3 attempts. But then if it goes past that, then it will actually report, no internet, and you really do need a connection in order to continue, that kind of thing.
Okay. So the NetTalk web server would communicate with, let's say, if I used Pay Simple to find out the transaction was made, and then
in reality, there you probably you'll need the web server to create, quickly put a web server together to handle your APIs and so on. But I don't think any of the NetTalk stuff does the Pay Simple or anything like that. You'll need our task class, but you can use our Chilkat wrapper with a NetTalk web server. We've got people who are using our offering the QuickBooks interface via their NetTalk web server, but they're using the Chilkat control and our class to do all the background work, which is the exact scenario you'd want. You'd want our task class to do all this background work for you and so on and so forth, and then just present and serve the information up via the NetTalk web server.
Good, thank you. Thank you. I've taken a lot of time here, but you've really enlightened me. And
well, it's a good subject for everybody, I think that. So it could, I think a lot of people could get some help out of that. So
yeah,
it's a not up and coming, because I think it's quite common actually, but it's a typical scenario where software is subscription based. So the better we can automate everything, it's better for the user, it's better for us from a workload point of view. The more you can automate, the better.
yeah, and it's just the way people are asking. Well, I just want to buy 3 months or 2 months if I want to keep going, and I just want to make sure I address that before and have the solution up and running before I say. It's not like the old days where you just buy this software for $295, it's yours, and
No, it's more rental now, which is better from a business point of view. The only thing I would say is I know PaySimple is cheaper than PayPal for their fees, and we're also but it's not going to be. It's not going to be this side of Christmas. It's on the dev list to start looking at. I'm just looking at the list now, actually, on the board. It's on the list for next month to implement Stripe. So you will have Stripe as a payment gateway as well. But it depends. If you roll out his next month, then don't build your solution on a Stripe payment gateway and so on, that kind of thing. But if you're okay waiting until around January, then you'll have Stripe as a gateway, which again, their fees, because it's all about the processing fees, their fees are quite competitive too.
Okay, great, good. Thank you so much, Andy.
No problem. Okie dokie. So that was Mark. We had Alan and we had Alejandro. But we had Alejandro first, and it was hi me. So Alejandro, where are we? Hi Alejandro.
Hello.
Hi,
how are you?
Yes, good. I believe you're going over to Cape Town.
Yes, of course.
Excellent. Looking forward to that.
I will be there.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh, sorry. Looking forward to meeting you. We speak all the time, but we've never met.
Yes. Sorry.
No problem. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person in Cape Town.
Yes. I am looking a place, if you are asking me that.
No. Just looking forward to meeting you.
Yes. Yes. I want to know you, to Bruce, John Hickey, everybody. I am very excited with this, really. And I want to present something. So I was talking with Bruce. So I am preparing something. I will show you later.
Excellent. Wow.
Yes.
So what can I help with today?
Did you see the docking pane behavior and the calendar pro? Did you remember?
I did remember, but it's not gone into the release this week. The report control is out. I have got a command bar and a docking pane update to be released. They will go in this week, so you will get them. It might be a couple more days, if that's okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I appreciate that, because I have to deliver some apps to my customer.
Okay. Well, yes, if we say we are Monday now, so 2 days time, by Wednesday afternoon in the UK, drop me a quick email to see if the update is ready, and then I will try my best to get it to you. Even if it's just a beta, we will get it to you.
Okay, perfect. I will send an email Wednesday.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
Okie dokie. And then we've got Alan. Oh, sorry, no. Alan, sorry, and then Antonio. Oh, it's a busy one today. This is really good. So, Alan, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent. So, what's the question?
All right. Docking panes.
Okay.
I could not figure out how to programmatically collapse and expand a pane. I found where I could track the action when it's collapsing, for example, but I couldn't find how to initiate that.
Okay, yeah, good question. Okay, let me think on that. Let's open up the example application, and we'll see. We'll see if there's any methods which will help us. So that's just opening. While that's doing that, I'm just going to open the class. Bring that over here.
I was thinking the solution might be somewhere in the restore layout.
Well, let's just bring the. It's going to be a set pane, I would have expected. Set pane floating, set pane min size, max size, set pane opened. Might be that. Okay, well, let's just choose a pane to start with. So it can be any pane, can't it?
You can.
Okay, that's a simple pane. So just going to add a checkbox to the window, and when we click it, we're going to see about basically what you want to do is the that's a bad example. Yeah, fold it back and optionally open it up. That
correct.
Yeah, right. Okay. Because it's open by default, so I'm going to say closed. Okay, let's add that to the to our window. Okie dokie. And put it to the right of there, thinking about it. Yeah, pane closed. Oh, pane closed. Right, so I'm going to have a need to know them other settings. I'll get those in a second. Plowing window control, being closed. Just going to call that. That's going to confuse us otherwise, so yeah. We'll have it to the right of that, so 500, 200, 200. Something like that. Okay, yeah, so when we do that, we want that to action. Okay, so what I'm thinking, we need the name of the pane first, pane list. Now, I don't know if this is the code. I'm just going to have a guess at the start. I'll be honest with you. Docking pane. No. Set pane.
Pretty sure I tried it and it closes it instead of collapses it, but let's see.
Oh, not very good. Yeah, meant to do that. Don't seem to be doing anything. I'm really surprised at that, I've got to admit.
Or just for testing, you just put a line in that would close or collapse the pane as the window opens, just so it opens, collapses instead of open or instead of expanded. Either way.
Just a little surprised by.
Did you set LV pane closed in the checkbox as the variable?
Just going to message that out just to check our particular value. Oh, well, that. I think we have to turn the immediate on, thinking about it, which would have had a tell us why we're not. Not yeah, add the prop immediate. Make sure it gets fired. Oops. I have put it in the right embed point, haven't I? That'd be embarrassing if we haven't. Okay, kind of digress a little. Tell you what we'll do. We'll come back to that and why that's not triggering. That's a little confusing, but I'll just do it as a button for now. Okay. So that'll tell us what it's going to do, and I'm intrigued on why that the checkbox never occurred there, but that's not to answer your question, so let's just do it this way for now. Okay, so that will close it. That should open it.
Let's see, is it pinned somewhere? Oh, yeah, I'll be darned. Huh.
And I'm changing obviously the text just so we can see what it is, so to speak. But yes, basically, so that code, we did that rather fast, but it is just obviously I've got storing some kind of open or closed status. But it is just the set pane opened, true or false. So you need to give it the ID of the pane in question, and then obviously the true or false, depending on what you want to do with it.
All right, thank you.
Okie dokie. Any other questions? I mean, we've got one from Antonio, but is there any more on the docking pane while we're here? No, Alan, are you okay?
I'm good.
Oh, excellent. That's what we like to hear. Okay, and then we've got Antonio. So, hi, Antonio. Have you got a microphone?
Yes, thank you, Andy.
So now your question, I don't see the question in here, but of course there was the question relating to schedules on a calendar. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, so let's take.
Actually, I'm just starting to use it, so maybe it's a pretty basic stuff, you know. But I was wondering how I can, you know, be able to see different schedules. You know, there's a schedule ID, and
yeah. No, that's it's quite a common. Quite a common usage of the of the tool. I know, Mark. Actually, I'm just going to bring your. Well, if Mark's still here, there's a particular app we've got. It's to do with scheduling, but it's to do with appointments and so on and so forth. But it touches exactly on what you're wanting to achieve, and basically you would have various different staff members. You've got an appointment book, and here you want to be able to turn on and turn off different people. So we could say, okay, yeah, we don't need Wengel's book on. We don't need Wendy's book on. We just need Andy's. Or now we do need Andy's and we need Wendy's. That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's basically what I want. Actually, I took a look at your example, but for some reason I haven't been able to make it work on mine. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Okay. Well, yeah, I forgot the example. I've got one in. Let's just quickly jump onto that, and we'll look at that code. Now, those particular columns, if you will, within the calendar, internally from CodeJock's point of view, they are called the sorry, just let me get this right. Yeah, they're called schedules. So, which you have to learn the CodeJock terminology, because of course, if you look at their manuals, they will refer to them as a schedule, and a schedule as a resource. So you can see here we have multiple calendars. Oh, sorry, no, wrong one. Schedule, sorry, that. So the one we probably want is something like that. This is just a little card.
Yeah, that's the one.
The other one with the report control, but exactly the same. This will turn on and off a little faster, because on mine I'm loading working rosters, working rotors, and that kind of thing. So the paint's a little slower. But when you define the calendar, when you add a calendar to the Windows or something like this, there are no schedules. And in the template, you'll tell it there is no schedules. So the calendar class itself will create a default schedule, which is what we see here. Okay.
Which is okay.
So because at any one time, the calendar will require at least one schedule. So if you don't require multiple schedules yourself, then the class will automatically create a default schedule for you to put your data into.
Okay, so the first attempt, I created some events and it worked fine. Maybe that's the reason why, because I wasn't using the schedule field.
Well, if you didn't have the schedules in place, then the schedule field, the schedule ID, would be blank, because you wasn't using them. So, and the default one which is created is actually blank. So that is correct.
Yes.
Now we come back to this example, and each schedule can have three entities, if you will. As with any of the products, you can specify your own ID for an entity. So if you create a command bar, the bar would have an ID, a button would have its own ID, the docking panes, each pane would have an ID, like we saw a minute ago, pane list. They are your user-friendly IDs, if you will. Internally, CodeJock will create another reference for it, but we just map the two together for you. So you always use your ID, and we'll talk to CodeJock and tell it what it thinks it is, that kind of thing. So when you add these, you can create a schedule. You give it an ID, which is a hidden schedule ID field. You give it a full name, like a long name, like Andrea Smith, and then you can give it some short names, like some initials. So if you was using, say, the overview control here, you would have the long name, staff 1, but you could give it some short names like the initials here, S1, S2, S3, that kind of thing. So to jump into that schedule example, let's have a look at what we actually do. There you go, staff. So the settings on the template to start with, just one second. Sorry about that. Here we go. So the default is multiple schedules not required. So what the calendar would technically do there, what the class would do there, is create you a default schedule with an empty ID. Meaning if you go and put create any appointments and so on, the schedule ID would be blank. Then you've got specified in template, and that's, let's say, if we just run our example, that's the report control example, sorry. We just run this one. Let's say you had a fixed number of schedules, like this here defined in template, 1, 2, 3. Maybe you've got, you're doing an in-house application for a manufacturing company, and they've got 4 production lines, and each one of these happens to be a production line. Then you can define them in the template because you've just got 4 lines, and you're not going to have any more or any less, that kind of thing. It's very rare that you do that, but you could just save yourself some development time and define them in the template. We're not going to do that. You want them to be dynamic.
Right.
So that comes to this option, which is created in the embed code. Now, the key here is to always give it at least one schedule. Okay, so it's going to, you're going to make use of these methods. Clear view schedules basically gets rid of any what you've got defined. Add a view schedule, which will create you a new one. Remove, possibly, to remove old ones. And then last but not least would be update the view schedules. Okay, so I'll give a tip on this application here, the one I mentioned earlier. We can say, if I go back to our the appointment book here, and if I was to turn off the last one, okay, it does go back and add a default, but the class doesn't do that for you. The minute you in the template say, I'm going to take charge of creating the schedules, then it passes all control over to you. So what I do in my code here is I say, okay, add all the ones which have been ticked to be displayed. At the end of that, if none have been set to be displayed, I add a default schedule myself, because you've always got to have at least one schedule on show. If you don't, the best you'll get is a big red box. The worst you'll get is a GPF. Okay, and that's because the calendar, or basically, it wants a schedule at any one time. It wants to be able to view a calendar. You need at least one schedule. And what you're saying here is, I'm going to do it in embedded code. So basically, you're taking charge of the whole schedule creation yourself. Sounds scary, and it's not. It's relatively simple. Yeah, it's simple. So we'll look at that embed point, and it all goes under this embed point here, schedules. So what we're going to do is, I'm surprised it's already, has it got the clear in there for us? No, okay. I would normally do my own clearing there, I'll be honest with you. I would clear the view schedules, and then I'd update the view schedules at the end. I think you'll get away with it just like this. Well, we are getting away with it, but it's good practice to do the clear, do your adding, and do the update. and at the end.
Okay.
And that's good practice. So here we're just going to read through the staff records and just say display it. And if we are going to display it, we're just going to call the add. Now you can see it actually takes 4 parameters. It takes its ID, and that ID can be anything you like. In this example, we're using some initials. Realistically, in an application, if you've got a staff record and on your table you're going to store, on your appointment table, your event table, you're going to store something like the record ID of the staff member who the appointment is for, then it would make good sense to actually not use the staff initials there and use the staff ID, because then that ties to your appointment record and everything, so all the data flows better.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So if we were to look at our dictionary here, we've got events, and we do have the staff ID, and it's stamping them as AW, so that's why it's using initials. But in my system, I have GUIDs, obviously, so I can replicate data from site to site, but locally in each site, every record has an auto incrementing record ID, and I use the local auto incrementing staff, the record ID, the staff ID, to link. So this would have something like staff ID, which would be a U-long, and in the staff record, obviously that would have its own staff ID, auto increment, U-long, and I would use the U-long there. I would use, personally, that's what I do in the other system.
Okay.
But in this example, I didn't want to put, not everybody does that. Some people use GUIDs, some people have their own unique conventions, and so on. So I never like to impose one particular thing onto a person. So on this, I just use the example of someone's initials, that kind of thing. Okay. So you have 4 parameters. The first one's the unique ID for that schedule. Second one's the long name, that's going to go at the top of the calendar. The third one is the short name, where if you're using, and that's optional, so the second one actually. But if you're going to use the short name, if you're going to use the overview functionality, then it's the short name that will get painted next to the overview. And then last but not least is if you actually wanted to control the view order.
Oh.
So,
okay.
So we're going to go.
That would be like a number, like a.
Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be like, I want this first, that second, that third, that fourth, that kind of thing.
Right.
So but the main thing we want is we're going to have done something like a Calendar Pro, and we'll see this code in a second. Clear view schedules, that will clear them all. We'll do some populating, and then we'll do something like a Calendar Pro update view schedules. Okay. And just for good measure, what you would probably want to do is something like, not a temporary variable, have a correct variable obviously, but something like total equals 0. You would want something along the lines of, so that we know how many we've got, and if total happens to equal 0, then we would want to just go and add a blank schedule. Giving us at least one view schedule, a default schedule. Not one person, because you haven't selected any person to be on show, but that would be a better example. I should really put something like that in the example app. This is only a temporary copy, it's not our master example, but that would be a better view of what you would do. Okay, I won't save that, but we get the idea. To see that code in action, so we turn these on and off, so we can turn Andy off, and then we put Andy back on again. Now it's just added at the end because there is no particular order, and we're not repainting them in an order, that kind of thing. Okay. On that code, because that's just a standard Clarion list in that example, I alert the double click, and if they have mouse left to as it is, but they double click, then all we're going to do is go and get the record. If they're trying to turn off the last schedule, the last view, then we say you can't do, because you've got to have one on show. We could allow them and just add the default. So instead, what we could do, yeah, we could still allow them, but just add a default schedule if you wanted to. It really comes down to your requirement, if you will. That
right.
kind of thing. That how you want your system to work. We allow for a default schedule, which is not one particular staff member, and that is really for things like the overall practice. I mean, that's going into it's a part of a light practice management system. So it's for the overall practice where they might have fire training and company-wide meetings, that kind of thing. So that would be the best for a default schedule.
Okay.
So that traps if we've got to have at least one. Otherwise, then we're basically just going to add or remove depending on what they've just selected, really. And then last but not least is we call the update view schedules, which basically commits those changes to the actual visual data, the visual calendar.
Okay. What about the following line, refresh contents? What does that do?
Okay, yep. Well, the refresh contents, what that does, just show it in action. So imagine, schedules. So let's, we've got Andy on there. Yep, I'm going to give me an appointment. AW at 10. There you go. We can see that. We're also going to put one there, AW at 12. Now, if I turn AW off, the schedule's gone for AW. If I put it back on again, without the refresh contents, it's not going to attempt to load any data because there's some background technology going on in the class saying, have you navigated around and changed the dates? If you've changed the dates, then it will go and reload efficiently. So you're only ever loading the smallest amount of data. So we're going to load the 14th, we're going to load the 15th, we're going to load the 12th, we're going to load the 11th. Now, because as I turn this off and turn it back on again, the dates haven't changed, it's not going to want to go and reload. So I'm saying, okay, go and refresh the contents. And what that will do is go and reload for whatever you've got on show.
Okay.
So because you're manipulating the resources, the schedules, because you're manipulating those, you need to go and tell it to reload again afterwards.
Okay.
So now you could have, from remembering your scenario, you did have some appointments which were for, let me put one appointment in here because it's all coming off the same table. Let's put one in here. And Monday the 11th, I'm going to put one in AW. No, it's not, sorry. Blank. Let's spell it correctly, that is. 9 a.m. And I'm going to make sure it really stands out. So there you go, yellow. Oh, crikey. Well, okay, that stands out. Now, in this example, so let me close that. In the schedules example, it's only that's told to load for Andrea Smith's, Andy Wilton's, Billy G's, Harry Webster, that kind of thing. So it's not going to load the blank records because they're not valid. Now it could be we could say we want to include any blank ones in there and AWs and any blank ones in there and Andrea Smith's. So going back to that scenario of they have practice-wide events, that kind of thing. So if we take a quick look at our data load embed point, so it can't see if we're looking at load events, and we can see here that we are purposely looking for the events for a staff member. So we jump into the start date, we delete all the events, we jump to the start date that's been passed in for the loading, we make sure we haven't gone past the end date, and then we go and check the staff. Okay, now what we could do is something like very crude, really crude. This OK hash equals false. If So if we can find the staff member that is, else, then they must be okay anyway, because it's blank. That kind of thing. And then I'm just going to go very crude that I wouldn't really put this code in mine, I'll be honest, but you get the idea. What we're saying is, if they have specified a staff member, attempt to find it, and only if you can find it, set it to true. Because it might be for a staff member that isn't on show. So, e.g., you might not have Billy G on show, but the appointment is for Billy G. So that wouldn't get loaded. Or if it's not for a staff member, it's just blank, then we're just going to load it.
Okay.
Now we've look at the
and
schedule.
Is this the example application, the one you're editing?
It is, although it's a butchered example application because we use it during each week and so on. But I can send you a copy of this straight afterwards. That's no problem.
Oh yeah, please do that.
Yeah, I'll just zip it up and I'll email it. Unless you've got Skype, if you add me on Skype, just look up Noyantis and then I can just Skype it across to you. That's not a problem.
I don't use Skype anymore. Okay, sorry.
Now we didn't get. Just let me look at that data. I would have expected to get that appointment. So let's just. That event table. Oh. Just want to check the schedule ID for that last one. Okay, so blank 9 a.m. So schedule ID is blank, so I would have expected that to be valid. Must be something in my logic then. If the event schedule ID is not equal to something, attempt to find it, otherwise it's true. Okay. I told you I wouldn't put code like this in mine. Okay, I'm going to blatantly rig this. Have we got some for? I think it's just the staff for AW, should just be. Yeah, it's just AW. Okay, yeah, it's not going to add it to that because it's going to put it on a particular schedule. Okay, so I'm going to say choose if it's blank, then add it to AW. Otherwise, add it to that staff members. Okay, very crude. Okay, you wouldn't really do it that way, but again, it's just to get the idea across. So
that would be equals blank,
right?
Right?
Yes, it would be. Yes, if it's blank, add it to that. What you would do is loop through all the schedules that are currently on show, and there's a method to get that as well. So you don't have to query your table. I can tell you what that method is in a second.
Okay.
So yeah, so now we've got our 10, and we've got all the other ones off the others. We've got the fire, we've got our markup ones, we've got our original AW10, we've got our original AW12, and we've got all the blank ones coming in for AW. So now I'm a busy person, but you get the idea.
Okay.
So for the likes of the calendar, then you have got some methods. Those methods are let's say get view schedule, something like that. No, let me just open that out the way. 1 second. Let me just get that. There's add view schedule, clear view schedules, remove view schedules, up. Oh. Sorry, it's them. They're the ones. And you'd be good to know, everybody, that we've recently taken on a new person, Ben, and he's already started on our documentation for the classes, and they are coming on a treat. So they will need some more descriptions coming from me, but in the meantime, I'm still going to release them even in a raw format, because you're not going to have to go off to the .inc. You're going to have there's a PDF, CHM, and HTML. So these are going to go on the website as well as downloadables, and they're going to go in the installers. But they have all of the properties, the type structures, and the class methods all listed out with their prototypes. Then I've got to go through and basically give them meaningful descriptions. But in the meantime, at least you'll have some documents so you can see all of the classes available and so on.
Awesome.
So they are taking shape. In fact, let's let me open that, because I'm sure the people do believe us. I'm not really inclined to tell lies, but let's just give that's not the one. Where do we want? Just looking for his. I have his work synced to my machine. It's got CHM. Yeah, this is the CHM of our common class. We've got to inverse that the imagery, so we can see here. Oh, that's not his latest.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
But yes, we can see what the common class is, and you'll be able to go to them.
I desperately need that. Yeah.
These are going to go into all the new. As I say, I will put the full descriptions in and the examples, but I'm not going to hold them up. If people can make use of them, even to start with, I'm going to get them out there. So yeah, that was a good one. You can see all the things you've got. So they are coming along.
Great news. Okay.
Yeah, not before time. I'll be the first to say that. So now, view schedules. This is what we've got here. So you've got get a schedule ID, so you can pass it an index, and it would return you 1, 2, 3, or 4. It would give you the ID of the particular index. Of the particular schedule.
What is the index?
So it's literally, that would be 1, that would be 2, that would be 3, that would be 4.
Okay.
So it's an index of the schedule. You can get it a name. So if you passed an ID, let's say AW, or if you were using your record IDs, instead of you having to go off to your tables, which are all data IO, you can just use a class. So you can say, get me the schedule name of a particular ID, and you get the full name back of Andy Wilton, that kind of thing. You can likewise, you can get the short name, and you should. I think there's one for get the schedule. Get total schedule, something like that. Get schedule number, no. Get the selected schedule, obviously you would need that. Remove, that's the embed point, you would put your code. Set the order, the display order. Set the name, update. No, but I'm sure there's one which will tell you the total number of schedules that are currently on show at any one point. Actually, you could do it via this queue. You've got a queue, so you can just say the records in the schedule queue.
Okay.
So there's ways and means that you can get to how many is currently on show without you having to go to your own tables.
Andy, I was wondering, occasionally I need that window, that particular window that shows the calendar, the whole calendar, to be updated, when it regains focus. And I don't know which, what to use. I mean, how to do that. Like what I do is basically I trigger some events every time the user creates a certain record. Then the events table is updated and it creates a certain event. So when the user comes back to that particular window that shows a calendar, I need the new event to show. And
that's okay.
I don't know how to do that.
It's just I do it on here. I keep jumping back to this because it's currently in development. It's not released, but it does everything, the kind of things you're talking about. So, for example, I'm looking here, and I can see. I'm going to block some time. That should do it. Okay, so I'm going to change the block time. I'm going to block some time here, 10 till 11 on the 11th. Okay. So I'm going to say, okay, for, no. just for me, for today, 10 till 11, I'm going to take a coffee break, that kind of thing. And I'm going to put it as other. I'm going to ask for confirmation. I'm going to give someone a warning saying I'm having a coffee. Are you sure? Okay, you get the idea. So I'm going to put it up in red. But the point being is I've done something which does need to change that calendar. So what I've done there, if I go back to it, okay.
Yeah, that's what I want.
That's what you're after. All I do there, because that calendar is open, and I know if it's open because I just store the thread number. Okay. Now in here, when they press OK, it just does notify across to the calendar thread to tell it to refresh the contents, and that is actually updated even when it's not on show, because it knows it's got to go and refresh. So, and it does the refresh contents with a true parameter, which will force it to refresh.
But would that work even if I'm using different threads? That in this case,
the notify goes across to it. Oh, they're on different threads. That's one thread. That's the other thread.
Okay. Can you show me that where that code is? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cracking open one of our applications here, but yeah, it's a bit different.
Oh, okay. No,
it's no problem. No problem. It's only something that you can do yourself. I'm giving you the idea of how to do it. So what we've got in here, we've got our update procedures. It's a multi-DLL, as you probably gathered.
Okay.
So, but okay, so update block. There we go. I should imagine it's in the OK. I would have thought so. Unless it's in trigger, I might have put it in trigger code. We'll just have a quick look. No, must have done it in the. Let's switch to the appointment book so you can see. But basically, there's just a notify goes across to it. Or is it an event? Actually, I better check if it's just an event. But in my appointment book,
that's a particular window with the calendar, right?
This is the appointment book. Yes. So sorry, this one is my yes. There's my calendar. There's my date picker and my staff.
Okay.
Oh, sorry there. So it was an event, so that's why I couldn't find it. So I'll take the past in event. So I have their block time. So I have an event called reload block times. I load the block time definitions because I actually store them in a queue for other use. Okay, but I load my block time definitions and so on. But ultimately, my refresh contents is there, which will go off and reload accordingly. So for yours, if it's just an event, then really that's what you're after, and the true will force it to, even if the dates haven't changed, then you would pass it a true to tell it go and reload your content.
Okay. Got it.
And the other is just a post event. I post that across to my thread, the calendar thread.
To that thread, yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay, does that help? Hopefully it helps. We're here every week, if not, I'm not sure what time are you on there, because I realise times can be, different all over the place. Obviously, what time zone are you in?
Well, it's 11:30 a.m. right now.
Oh, that's not too bad for you then. Yeah, because we get some Australians,
Yeah, no.
it's like 2-3 a.m. in the morning and things like that, and yeah, they have to be very keen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not too bad. I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, we're here all the time. I can, as I say, I'll put the Clarion example. I can zip it.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes they can, the zips can be filtered and so on and so forth. So if you've got me on Skype or if you just add me on Skype, then I'll just zip it and send it via Skype because you're going to get it faster.
What's your ID again?
Noyantis.
Okay.
So.
I'll do it right now.
Okie dokie. And then last
Okay,
but not
Andy.
least, glad we could help. Last but not least, we've got Roberto. Now, he says he's been trying to get my attention, and I haven't missed you out. We're there. So, Roberto. Hello.
Hello.
Yep, we weren't ignoring you. We were just covering content.
¿Le pagas tantito, amorcito? Annie.
I can hear. Is that Alejandro? No.
Annie, ¿le pagas tantito? Thank you, tantito. Voy a hablar. Okay, got it. I don't know. When you were showing that stuff for the ducking, I was just wondering if you have a get method for that. Because you didn't program it that way. You programmed it with just the bit, turn on or off.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
a good.
So.
Yeah, so Alan, this might be a better one for yourself.
Yeah,
still there. There you go, Alan. Your mic's opened as well. So it's back to the document, and Roberto is actually correct. So consider myself told off, but it's all knowledge, isn't it? So let's go back to our simple. And it is not a method, there is a property, because obviously what we're doing is changing the property of a pane. So let's just take
You should be able to get the property.
Oh, we can definitely get the property, that won't be a problem. But if there's a method, then of course that would be better for you, because it's less code. So there's a set, but there's not a get.
Right.
Okay, so
and it should be easy to do a get, right?
We're going to create one, so it'll go into the next update, but we'll show the code now in its raw format too. So the best for everybody. So yes, so we wanted to go on our closed list. We're going to get rid of that. Let's comment this actually. And we're going to do that, and we're going to say, okay, if the docking pane dot get pane property. I think it's just let me we want the pane, which is pane list, obviously. We want the property, which is hidden. And what you also want is you want to be interrogating the absolute of it, because it will sometimes come back as -1, depending on which of the CodeJock developers have worked on it. Some use 1 and 0, some use -1 and 0. So if the absolute, if it's hidden, if it's not hidden, then we're going to hide it. Otherwise, we're going to set the pane open, that kind of thing.
I like that. I like that better.
It is, yeah. You are indeed correct. That is future-proofing you. And of course, it's one less variable. It's one less lot of work to do. Yeah.
I've never liked the choose.
And then, just for good measure, what we're going to do is we're going to get pane. What was that? What was that one a second ago? Set pane open. Yeah. So we're going to add a get pane open. Ah, we've got get pane hidden. Actually, you've already got it, so it could be get pane hidden. Have we got a set pane hidden? No. Bit. One could argue they're one and the same. Actually. Yeah.
Somebody was drinking too much beer.
Pain hidden. I wish. Okay. Well, that we can see how that's a little confusing. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's bookmark that. And we are going to do...
So why don't you do something like, I know you like the gets and sets, but why don't you put is, like is pane hidden or is pane opened?
Because it's we're way too far down one path now. So get pane opened. Okay. So it's after get pane object. And all that's truly going to do.
Let's return a property for.
Okay, I'll update our docs in a minute. Well, the history. So that really ties the two together. So you've got to get pane open now. So now what we could really do is just say okay. Alan, did you get that code though, just in case you wanted it?
Well, I was watching, but I was thinking, I've got this one. I assume you're going to update your method at some point and add that one in.
So yeah, so we're going to go get pane opened, and then we can.
You're like an E there.
Oh yeah. Get pane opened, and if it's false, so that's just gets rid of your absolute and the get and set of the actual terminology which you use in the template interface. There you go. Thank you, Roberto.
Yeah, that makes more sense now.
It does, yeah, granted. Okay, well, no more questions, and we have met our time, just over actually, which is good. Roberto, are you going to the CIDC Africa?
I hope so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Bruce has got the website up now.
I'm going to be teaching with Ale, doing the course there.
Excellent.
On how to connect WhatsApp, or however you say it.
Excellent. Oh, very good.
To your Clarion application.
Cool.
Yeah. And some more stuff. And more stuff.
Cool. Okay, well, we're going to start wrapping
stuff.
it up. Any updates? Oh, Mark's just asking if there's any updates on PubNub. No, but that will be. I wanted this week, but sorry, just got a couple of questions coming there. So let's open some mics up. Mike, there was Mark first. So where are we? Where are we? Mark, there you go. So Mark, the mic's opened. Yeah, basically, no, I've got my developer keys, so on and so forth. But unfortunately, application dev and the other updates got in the way, which was a bit annoying, to be fair, because I like to add new toys. But it will be going one of the task classes, just like we spoke about with the third light and so on and so forth. It will go out exactly the same as that.
All right. Hey, I want to give you a heads up. I just talked to, they contacted me as soon as I signed up and became a developer account and got keys. And he said they're actually releasing something new that's going to make it a lot easier, not whatever that means. So you may want to just touch base with them.
I've got a meeting planned with them. So okay. Yeah, I'll make sure I raise that with them.
Yeah.
This is PubNub, yeah.
Yeah, PubNub, yeah. I'm excited about them because they're HIPAA certified, which is very important for healthcare. So.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I will let you know. But in reality, that's going to be another couple of weeks before you start seeing any kind of beta of. But it will go as part of the Chilkat task class, because all those kind of add-ons are done in that vein, if you will.
Right. I'm patient, so thank you very much for your.
Okay. No problem. And then last but not least, Antonio's just asked, how can you access the previous recorded sessions? And they are all on the YouTube channel. I think they're on the Clarion Live, but there might be some missing off the Clarion Live before they switched over to the YouTube streaming. But if you go on to YouTube, obviously, do a search for Noyantis. I think there's actually 2, which I'm not quite sure if I've still got the other one. I need to close if it is. But basically, yes, there's a Noyantis software, and they are all there. Basically, you should get your playlists, and there is one playlist per month, plus the odd Clarion Live webinar as well. But you'll see here, so there's September, August, July, so on and so forth. So, yeah, just do a search for Noyantis on YouTube, and yeah, you'll see them all.
So where's the one with 1 million views in it?
1 million views? Where am I looking there?
I'm just pulling your leg.
Hey, I need to be pulling some revenue. It's 1 million views. Definitely. No, but yeah. So that's how you'll get on all the recordings. After we finish this one in a few minutes, then I'll set it converting, and that will be uploaded. So in the morning, this will be available too. Okie dokie. Right. A pretty good webinar as always. So until next week, everybody, I shall see you then.
Thanks, Andy.
Okie dokie.
See you then.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Andy.